Okay, this video is over number 3 on section 3.2. Oh, let's see here. Okay. This is the question I got sent by Ask My Instructor. I'm going to try to enlarge this. So this problem is 5w squared plus 32w plus 35. And now, there's a few ways to solve this. Factoring wouldn't be easiest at all because of the 5 being the leading coefficient, and you can't divide the other terms by 5. So I'm going to write this problem down here. Well, we have 5w squared plus 32w plus 35 equals 0. Okay, now this is my problem, but when I go to factor, that's not going to be the easiest approach to this, even though they go through the factoring method on the example. The thing is, it's like by having that leading coefficient, it's going to make the factoring a lot more challenging. You can also use your quadratic formula, and that works, but then that's going to entail a lot of steps. So the first way, there's 3 ways to approach this, and I think the easiest way to approach this problem is to find the zeros graphically, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this function into my calculator, and I'm going to graph this, and I already put it in my calculator here. And this is my graph. And you can see over here on your, let's see here, on your table that I have -5, 0 as one of my points. And I don't see where the other 0 is located. So the zeros occur at x-intercepts. So we know -5 is one of the zeros. Now I'm going to try to show you how to do this graphically, but then since this is the TI-84 emulator, it's very problematic when I'm also doing Zoom. I will try, and if this doesn't work, I have a backup plan. Second and trace, go to 0. Now the -5, I saw that from my table of values. For this 0 right here, this looks like it's crossing the x-axis between -2 and -1. So for my left bound, I'm going to type in a -2 and hit enter. For my right bound, I'm going to type in, you can do 0 or -1. It looks like it's in between -1 and -2. Hit enter. And then you can just hit enter again where you have your guess. And we have -1.40. So I'm going to go back to my question now. This is sent to me, so I don't know if it will let me interact with, oh, it might. So we have -5, comma, -1.4. Now, on my math lab, okay, all of the problems in this section are probably easiest if they're done graphically, but that's not going to work 100% of the time, because sometimes you have a function that doesn't have any x-intercepts, and then you would have to use your quadratic formula. What I just showed you on the calculator, there is a calculator tutorial on my math lab. And if you go to Tools for Success and go to the right where it says Graphing Calculator Tutorial, and then if you click on that little link here, then you will see a tutorial. But this is this uses Adobe Flash, and it's pretty outdated. So if you have a MacBook, you might not be able to open this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the, I'm recording this so you can see the tutorial here. When I'm going to go to graphing, and I'm going to go to, let's see, locating a zero of a function. And what's nice about this, and this function, I'm sure you can't see it, but the function that we have here is x squared plus 2x minus 8. So it actually shows you exactly what buttons to hit. And so you can just follow along with this with your mouse. So we have y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8. And then it's going to go to zoom and number 6. So you have a standard viewing window. And then second, and the trace button, like I did before. It's going to have you move down to number 2, which is 0. So x-intercepts are zeros. And for your left bound, I guess it's finding the x-intercept over on the far right. So I'm just going to hit enter because I'm to the left of the x-intercept that looks like it's going through positive 2. And then I'm going to move to the right. And then I'm going to hit enter. And then it's going to say guess. But the calculator tutorial will make me actually move and then to where I think the x-intercept's located and hit enter. And then it found the first x-intercept. And then you kind of do the similar thing for the second x-intercept. Okay, so let's stop the share. Now, on most of these problems, it's going to show you on View an Example how to do this by factoring. But since this is an online class, really it doesn't matter which method you use. If you factor, I could show you the algebraic way of doing this if you like. I know that I know one of my x-intercepts is at -5. So I know one of my factors would be w plus 5, because if I set that factor equal to 0 and solve for w, I would get -5. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you the factoring method if you want. If w plus 5 is a factor and we're set equal to 0, solve for w, you get -5. So that came because I looked at the graph and I saw it crossed the -5. Now, factoring is like foiling but backwards. So I want to figure out what to multiply to w to get the first term, which is 5w squared. So first, that would have to be a 5w. Now I need to see what do I multiply to 5 to get the last term, which is 35. And that would be 7. And now if you haven't done any factoring in years and years, then this may seem a little weird to you. So that's why I'd recommend trying to find your answer on the calculator or using the quadratic formula. And so if you were to FOIL this out, you would have 5w squared plus 7w plus 25w, that adds up to the middle term, and then plus 35. So the factoring, usually a lot of students in this class, they haven't done that in a while. When you set each factor equal to 0 and solve for w, you get -5 and -7/5. So that's how you'd solve it by factoring. And then a -7/5 is the -1.4. But I just found it to be a whole lot easier most of the time to do these on the graphing calculator. And then of course you might come across one where the graphing calculator won't work for it because you don't see any x-intercepts, and then you would have to use your quadratic formula. So